All right, guys, Mr. Moscato with you once again. In part three, we took a look at how to add the neck to the bottle and round those surfaces, those new surfaces that we created, the edges of the bottle and where the neck of the bottle intersects with the body of the bottle. Here in part four, what we're going to do is actually finish the bottle. Um, it needs two additional features to it. The first feature that we need to introduce is we need to make the bottle hollow. Right now, it's just a solid piece of virtual plastic. It can't hold anything, so it's not a very good bottle. So we're going to use the shell tool to hollow out the bottle itself. And then the second feature that we're going to add to finish this up is we are going to add a bead of material around the neck of the bottle to serve as one half of the compression fitting that we are going to need when we build the cap. All right, so ultimately, after we build the cap, we are going to assemble the entire thing. And basically, the way that it would work in real life is we would take the cap and just kind of push it down onto the neck of the bottle. And then the compression fitting would serve as the mechanism that holds the cap to the bottle. All right, so let's take a look at how to shell um, our bottle right now. All right, so we're in the Schools tab. All right, I go to the shell tool. Now, the way that the shell tool works is we give it one piece of information that it absolutely needs, and that is how thick is the bottle itself. So in other words, how thick is the plastic all the way around the bottle? All right, so for our purposes here, the thickness of the bottle is going to be 1.5. So I'm going to set that value to 1.5. Okay, so right now my bottle is hollowed out, okay, but I can't see it yet. All right, so if you think about the thickness of a bottle, it's is the thing hollow? How thick is the plastic? So think of like a ping pong ball or something like that, right? Where it's hollow, um, but obviously there's a thickness of material there. And then the second thing that we need to define, all right, for this case is that we need to be able to have an opening. All right, so certain items that are hollow have openings. Think about like a piece of PVC pipe. Okay, where if you look at it from one end, you can see the thickness of the material of the PVC itself, and then it would be hollow on either end. All right, think about a milk jug or this this bottle here. We need to have one opening in the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to define that opening by mousing over the top of the neck of the bottle. It turns green, and I'm going to click, right? And you can see that we've basically removed the top of the bottle there. We're all set here. We're going to green check mark that. All right, save it right away. All right, and then this is the kind of the cool part. You can zoom in to your bottle, all right, and take a look inside and look inside of the bottle. All right, so you can see the geometry inside of it. Um, so the shelling, right, the hollowness extends, not just through the central, so through the main tube, but it also extends into the handle. All right, so again, kind of like a milk jug, um, where the liquid, flows up and through the handle. Um, we have the same kind of idea here. All right, so not, uh, this is advantageous for the manufacturer because we are using less plastic. All right, we don't have a solid handle here, so we're using less material, so it's cheaper to make, and at the same time, it's better for the consumer, right? Because for the same size, they get a container that holds more fluid. All right, so that's it's kind of a win-win there. All right, so after we're kind of done oohing and awing on our bottle here, the last thing we're going to do to finish this out is we are going to add that compression ring or that half of the compression fitting to the top of the neck of our bottle. We're going to do that with a revolve. All right, so go ahead and click on the revolve tool. All right, we're going to place it on the front plane. So again, the plane that bisects the bottle, through into two equal but mirrored halves, all right, is the plane that we are going to set. So placement, define, and the front plane. Now we're going to go ahead and sketch. All right, this bead of material is pretty small, so I'm going to zoom in on this edge here, on this corner. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is I need to know two things before I start to sketch. I need to know exactly where the top of the neck of this bottle is. Where is this surface? And I also need to know where this silhouette is. All right, so I'm going to go over to my references, my reference tool, and click on that. And I'm going to approach the top of the bottle until I get, right, that pop-up that says surf, all right, surf, colon, and then it'll give you, F8 extrude 2, something like that, right? It gives you the name of the extrusion. So I'm going to click there, and you can see that I've added a dashed line, a dashed reference right across the top of the bottle, right? So now I know exactly where that top surface is. I need to do the same thing for the silhouette, okay? So I'm going to approach the outside of the bottle when I get that pop-up, right? It says SILH for silhouette. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it's difficult to see, but it is dashed there as well. All right. If you're not sure what you've done, you can always check your references box here, your pop-up, right? And you can see that we have surf, all right, for surface, and SILH for silhouette, right? So I know exactly where these two edges are. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And then I'm ready to add my drawing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a semicircle, which is a kind of arc. All right, but I don't see any of those tools up here in my dashboard, in my toolbox up here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at where it says more. All right, so we have the fillet tool here. We have, project here, text tool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on where it says more, and this is going to give me basically all of my tools. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go down to the arc section, and I can see that I have a bunch of different arc tools. The one that I want, all right, is the center and ends tool. All right, so basically what we do is we define a center, and then we define the endpoints for that arc. Okay, so I'm going to click on center and ends. Okay, this is very similar to the circle tool. I'm dragging around the center of my arc first. I want to place it on the outside silhouette pretty much anywhere except for where it says M. I do not want to place it in the middle of that silhouette, all right, of that line segment. I want to place it just above. All right, so the way that this tool works is I'm going to click on the tool here. All right, I'm going to left click, right, which sets the center of the arc. I'm going to pull straight up the silhouette until I get to the intersection of the silhouette, the vertical silhouette, and the horizontal surface references. All right, left click and release, right, and then I'm going to drag that arc all the way around until I contact the silhouette again. Okay, left click and release, and then I can go ahead and deselect the tool. Okay. The arc that I drew has a radius of almost 4. What I need is a radius of 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. Set that dimension to 1.5. Okay. Because of the constraint, right, because that endpoint was at that intersection, all right, the rest of the sketch kind of falls into place, right? So this point stays where it is, but then my midpoint and my endpoint of the arc move. Okay. I need to finish the sketch by basically connecting the dots. I need to create a closed sketch here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the line tool. I'm going to click on the endpoint of one of the endpoints of the arc. All right, left click and release. Drag it all the way down until I get to the other endpoint, left click and release. All right, and then center click twice to deselect the tool. All right, so that's my sketch. All right, so that looks pretty good. The last bit of this then is to add our center line, all right, our axis of revolution. We need to revolve around the neck of the bottle. Now remember that the bottle itself, the center of the neck, was placed above the center of the body of the bottle, right? The big circle down here. So we already have a centered axis, or a centered reference, I should say. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to go over here to where it says on the datum section and select center line, and I'm going to place that vertically on that reference, on that vertical reference that we had before, and I'm going to place it and then left click again. All right, when I deselect the tool and I mouse over that reference, all right, it tells me that it is a center line, but it is also the axis of revolution, which is exactly what we want. Okay, my sketch is set. I'm going to green check mark that. I can see the preview. All right, I have a 360-degree revolve all the way around the outside of the neck of the bottle. It looks good. I'm going to green check mark that. I'm going to save it right away. All right. And let's take a look at the bottle one more time. I'm gonna go to view, and I'm gonna turn off my planes view. All right, so we don't have the planes kind of in the way. All right, and this is what we have, right? So our bottle is finished at this point. Some pretty interesting geometry associated with the creation of this thing. All right, so that's pretty much it for now. All right, you can go ahead and play with your bottle there for a while if you want. But I'm going to sign off. All right, so this is Mr. Mascaro signing off in part 5 of our tutorial series. Then we will design the cap, and then we will add some features to the cap, and then eventually we will assemble the cap onto this bottle. All right, so this is Mr. Mascaro signing off. We'll see you next time.